In week one of Autos 250, we spent a lot of time talking about air-fuel ratios and what could change an air-fuel ratio. Well, one of those things is your fuel pressure. And on this 95 Miata, we have an adjustable fuel pressure regulator, which allows us to change what PSI we have our fuel pressure at. We also have a wideband, which will give us real-time air-fuel ratios, as you'll see later on. Here you can see the fuel pressure priming and the fuel pressure regulator reading around 45 psi. So here's the baseline of the air-fuel ratio. At idle, it should be around 14.2, 14.4, and at acceleration, it'll drop down to 11.9 to 12.1. So we also hooked a fuel injector up to our picoscope, and you can see here not only when the fuel injector fires, but you can also see the dwell is around 3.87 milliseconds, and that is at idle with an air-fuel ratio of about 14.2, 14.4. So in the beginning, we actually turned the fuel pressure down about 6 psi, and as you can hear, the engine surging. It's not running right, and the ECU is trying to figure out how to smooth out that air-fuel ratio. So even though the air-fuel ratio isn't necessarily really lean here, it's bouncing around and not consistent. So at the same time as we were decreasing the fuel pressure, we also had the picoscope hooked up to that fuel pressure, or that fuel injector. And if you remember, at normal idle at 14.2 or 14.4 air-fuel ratio, we were at 3.867 milliseconds of duration. We were able to get it to 4.059 milliseconds of duration. So when we leaned it out, we actually lengthened the amount of on time of that fuel injector to make sure that that engine was getting a sufficient amount of fuel. So after increasing the fuel pressure, we were able to actually get the car to run at 13.2, 13.3 pretty consistently. So with our air-fuel ratio being rich, we were able to get about 1.78 milliseconds of a dwell time. So as you can see here, we are actually able to get the car to run pretty consistently at an air-fuel ratio of 15.8, 15.9. And the real shocker was the actual dwell increased from, again, 3.8 something milliseconds all the way up to 5.489 milliseconds. So when we leaned that car out and it was really running at 15.9 air-fuel ratio, that dwell increased all the way to 5.489 milliseconds, really making sure those fuel injectors stayed open long enough.